back to a brand new episode of Southern Woke.
I'm Marina.
And I'm Kaylin.
And oh my gosh, we've almost been doing this thing for like a year.
Y'all, next episode will make our 1 year anniversary as a podcast.
And guess what we're doing for y'all?
Aliens Part 2.
Yep, to this day, our first episode on aliens has been like our most popular, highest views. So we love aliens, and obviously you guys too. So we're gonna do part 2, and it's gonna be a big one.
Yes, guys, so be looking out for that coming out in 2 weeks from now.
And you might see a change of scenery. Stay tuned.
Alright, but what are we talking about today, Marina?
Today we're talking about Antarctica. And you guys are probably like, what? An episode on a continent? But Antarctica's kind of a bad bitch, if you didn't know. And she's got a lot of history and a lot of conspiracy, which you know we love. So
Y'all, Antarctica really is crazy though. Whenever I think of Antarctica, I just think of this icy continent and that's about it. There's some crazy stuff going on over there that nobody's talking about.
yeah. So just like, picture this. She's 1.5 times the size of the US in size, 90% covered in ice. That's 1 to 2 miles thick.
She is thick with 2 C's.
And 70% of the planet's freshwater is there. 90% of the planet's freshwater ice is there. So like, she got a lot of water.
She do be having a lot of water.
Okay. Also, did you see the volcanoes?
Yes.
How many did you see that they had?
4.
There's over 100.
That's not a thing. There's no way that's...
Look it up.
I will.
I am so dead serious. Like, there was I think it was like a 2017 survey. They like found 91 new volcanoes in addition to 47 previously known ones.
Alright, I guess there have been found to be 138 volcanoes. I don't know where I got 4 from. Maybe there's 4 active?
2. I don't know what
Yeah.
But, I mean, there could be more than 2. I don't know. Maybe that's from, like, old research. Maybe you saw newer ones. But, yeah, 2 of them are active. Mount Erebus, which is kind of, like, south of New Zealand, and Deception Island, which is southeast of Cape Horn, South America. Mount Erebus actually last erupted in 2015. So that's, like, weird that that's not more talked about, that there's volcanoes on this icy-ass continent, which is also classified as a desert.
That's really crazy to think about, too.
Yeah, it's the driest continent, not Africa, y'all.
Like, you think of a desert, you think of, like, sand and camels and, like, extreme heat, but...
It's just extreme cold and extreme dryness, and
Exactly.
the temperatures can get down to, like, negative 100 Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is for Celsius, maybe like 70-something, maybe, I don't know.
Alright, but Mount Erebus is pretty crazy. It's considered an extreme natural wonder. It has liquid magma and ancient lava lakes that have been boiling for around 1.3 million years. That is crazy that for like 1.3 million years those lava lakes have just been boiling.
I know.
And then scientists really can't even visit Mount Erebus often due to its remote location and just the dangerous weather conditions, which that is like, I saw something that said that it's the last unexplored wilderness is Antarctica, just because like everywhere else in the world we've like fully explored and like understand, but
Yeah, like you have to be basically trained to withstand the conditions there. Like the winds can get up to 200 miles an hour.
that's ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
some of our biggest hurricanes don't even get up that high.
I know. And they have like a 750-mile long mountain range under the ice. And at one point they thought that they found 3 pyramids in Antarctica. And like they were perfect triangles. And then they discovered those were actually the tops of the mountains.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. They said one of those like pyramid shaped tips was how big? I don't know, like I think 4 times the height of the Pyramid of Giza. So like, she's huge. Um, Also, what's really scary is, you know how we hear about climate change, which melts the ice caps in Antarctica, and most of these volcanoes are on the western side, and like if one were to have activity, it could like crumble that west side.
Yeah.
And even without the volcanoes, like even if the melting continues and then chunks start just getting weaker and flying back into the ocean, um, the whole like global sea level rise would be like 16 feet. So, like that's a lot of humans displaced if that happens. But like hopefully it just happens gradually over time because I don't think we're reversing this at this point. Yeah.
That's really scary that at any point that could just break and then like half the world floods.
Yeah. And I mean like the earth is literally shifting and doing crazy things we don't totally understand underneath, so like anything could happen really at any moment. And then let's see.
Oh, another cool thing though about Mount Erebus was when they actually did go and like research in that volcano, they found organisms that were living in the heat of the volcano, and they thought that there's just like no organisms at all in Antarctica, but they were living in there. And they also found like a number of ice caves in the Mount Erebus, and it had all kinds of microorganisms in the soil, and they think that they can end up finding like a bunch of creatures that we thought were extinct that have been living there this whole time.
Yeah, I think they're called like extremophiles, like little bacteria that can just withstand crazy high temperatures.
It's so crazy.
Also, something like a little story. On November 28th of 1979, there was a flight going over Antarctica, and due to like a flight path coordinate error, the Air New Zealand Flight 901 crashed into Mount Erebus, killing all 257 people on board, and is still the country's deadliest peacetime disaster.
Oh my god.
Like, I can't imagine. How did we not see that? Well, we weren't born, but why haven't I heard about that before? Like 257 people just crashed into a mountain in Antarctica and died.
Yeah.
No, a volcano.
Because you hear about what's that story with the giant blimp that exploded?
It's a German word, right?
Yeah, I think so. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
right?
but I can't freaking remember the name.
It's basically like the same thing though. We all know that story, but
Yeah.
nobody's ever heard of this one.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if I did, I wouldn't remember it just like that, but who knows? So the other volcano, Deception Island, is a completely different type of volcano because it actually sits underwater, and the island is like the little ring on top. So, and the highest point of the island is only 576 meters off the sea level. So like it's a very like, I just imagine like a donut of ice with this like bubbling, boiling thing underneath. I don't know, that's scary.
That is
like,
horrifying.
What if you drown in that? Your body's just gonna go to the pit of a volcano and burn.
The fact that there can be like volcanoes underwater just doesn't sit right with me.
I feel like there's probably those all over the world though that there's like I know there's holes in the bottom of the seafloor that like bubble.
Yeah, that's horrifying to think about too.
I know. So much about this world is terrifying. But I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
I love Earth. Plays the little Dicky song in the background. You don't know that song? That was cringe.
What Lil Dicky song?
It was like, we love the Earth.
Oh, I like that song.
Oh my god. If y'all haven't listened to it, just go watch the video. It's funny. It's just like a one-time laugh.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. And there's a freshwater lake that's under 2.5 miles of ice. Freshwater lake. Yep. So there's just like not frozen water in the middle of frozenness. I don't know.
So, wait, I have it in my notes why that's a thing. It has to do with the pressure. The lake never freezes due to the pressure from the weight of the ice sheets. So that is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Even the physics class I took can't make that make sense in my brain. None of the chemistry is nothing. I still don't understand it. But, continuing. Fun fact, 90% of the world's discovered meteorites are found there. because it's just like so big and like the placement of the planet. And they're up to 700,000 years old. Now, what kind of animals do y'all think of when you think of Antarctica? Do you think of polar bears?
I was about to say mammal.
Mammals.
Mammoths.
Yeah.
I was about to say mammoths, but
Those are extinct.
I know. So polar bears and penguins would be the right answer.
Polar bears is not. They do not live there. So, it's literally a continent run by penguins and seals.
All of Antarctica is just penguins and seals.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And whatever microorganisms, and maybe some seabirds, but that's it. Imagine, like, if I was a penguin on Antarctica, I'd be chilling. That is just a big old land to explore. Okay.
Bro.
Did you see the
So where are polar
waterfall?
bears at? Alaska?
Like more towards the North Pole, I would assume. I don't know.
My whole life's been a lie.
Cause like if you go any like if Antarctica's on the bottom and you go up, you start getting like hot, like Australia, South America. So I feel like they would be more towards the North Pole. That's just how my brain works. Did you see the blood falls?
The blood falls are crazy.
Yes. So, 5 million years ago, picture this. Sea levels rose, flooding East Antarctica and forming a salty lake. Millions of years later, glaciers formed on top of the lake, cutting it off from the rest of the continent, meaning that the water in Blood Falls is like an aqueous time capsule, preserved 400 meters underground. As the glaciers on top of the lake began to freeze, the water below became even saltier. Today, the salt content of the lake under Blood Falls is 3 times saltier than seawater and too salty to freeze. So, the lake that feeds Blood Falls is trapped beneath a quarter mile of ice and completely cut off from the atmosphere. It's never seen sunlight and is completely devoid of oxygen. It's so extremely rich in iron that, like, as it's scraping the bedrock below the lake, it seeps through like the fissures in the glacier, and the salty water falls down into another lake, like on the other side. And when the iron-rich water meets the air, it rusts, which turns it red. And it literally looks like someone cut Antarctica and it's a human and it's bleeding.
It's really eerie looking, seeing it just coming out. Like, it's really creepy looking.
Yeah. I'm proud of that explanation. That was the only scientific thing I understood about this.
And that's because people don't understand so much about Alaska, about Antarctica. But the only way that you can see the blood falls is by helicopter or from cruise ships that are visiting the Ross Sea. So most people don't even get to see the blood falls.
That's another thing. You can take cruise ships there. And if like the conditions are right, they even let you like go walk around. So like life goal.
I really do want to do that.
Cause like that would be such a goal to visit every continent.
And now that I know there's not polar bears there, they're just gonna run up and maul me.
Nope. The worst thing that could happen is a whale just comes up and boop.
Bro, if I die from a whale on the cruise, Jesus.
Dude, did you see that like article a few weeks ago? Like some guy claimed a whale ate him and then spit him out, and he had like some broken ribs.
Jonah? Question mark? From the Bible?
No, it was some dude. I don't know if it was like debunked because he's like just dumb or if it was real, but
There's
yeah.
no way that's real.
Anyways.
And if that does happen, you don't tell anybody. That's embarrassing. I mean,
I survived a whale attack.
exactly. Oh, that's awful. Alright, so this is pretty crazy, but in 1958, I think you kind of just went over this, a Soviet team was undergoing a mapping expedition from the coast, and what they were doing was every 100 miles they would set off explosives to go ahead and test how thick the ice was. So they travel 100 miles, set off explosives. Well, they kept on doing that, and then something strange started to happen. They ended up finding this very thin ice in the middle of the ice sheet, and they realized that there was mountains under it. And I know we kind of briefly talked about that for a second, but like, think about how crazy this is. they're standing on a flat surface, and there's like a whole lost world down below them with like mountains and trees and lakes, and they can see it, but like we can't access it down there.
Yeah.
And we use like laser technology and stuff to see that there is like liquid lakes and there's like things that are down there, but we have no way of getting to it. Like that is insane.
Yeah, I remember like watching some National Geographic show at one point, and they showed like the research teams down there and how dangerous it is on their missions, because they have to like walk so carefully and like scan the ground basically, because at any given point, if you go over like a piece that's too thin, but you can't tell because everything's just white,
Yeah.
you could just, everything could fall and it will break through. So like that's
horrifying.
as hell. Like they're constantly finding bodies there, like frozen under ice.
Part of me thinks it'd be super fun to be a scientist that would like work there, but also that's horrifying.
Y'all need a microbiologist? I graduate in May.
We got you.
Oh my god, that would be. I'm not ready for that cold. I live in Louisiana and I go numb from cold, so I don't think I'd live there.
Well, those mountains ended up getting dubbed the Gambrixi Mountains, and they stretch over 750 miles across the interior of the continent. I love the thought of thinking that there's like a world that used to exist down there that we just can't see now, and there could be like...
We'll get to it later. There's claims of people that have seen entrances to another world, but we'll get there. You have anything else on like the land itself?
Let's see. Did you see about the singing ice?
No.
So you remember we talked about on our Mysterious Creatures episode, like the blurb, and it was that really weird noise, and it was when the two ice sheets like rubbed against each other.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a thing called the singing ice, and the Ross Ice Shelf is the largest ice shelf in Antarctica, 700 meters thick. And scientists recently discovered that it sings this really weird, eerie melody whenever winds blow across the top of it, and they picked it up using these sound domes, and it really just sounds like it's making this super creepy, seismic sensor noise. It sounds
I can only
awful.
imagine, like I'm imagining it right now, and it's weird. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, go listen to it, it's really weird.
I also, I was like listening to some Antarctica videos in the background while I was getting ready today just to absorb more info. And I heard that they said that one of these volcanoes that erupted spewed gold.
What?
Uh-huh. I don't know. That was just a YouTube video. I don't know what channel it was, the credibility, but I heard it. It sounded scientific up until that point.
I think just anything goes in Antarctica. Like, anything can happen. What the heck?
I know. Probably some way the fucking lava interacts with the ice and the bedrock and the I don't know. Anyways, so let's get into like some history. So like, who owns Antarctica, right? Like, who are they? So after World War II, scientific research popped off in Antarctica with multiple countries setting up year-round bases. There was the Antarctic Treaty that was signed in Washington on December 1st, 1959 by 12 countries whose scientists had been active in and around Antarctica during like 1957 and 58. Many other nations have since joined, making the total 54. Argentina, Australia, Chile, France, New Zealand, Norway, and the UK all have territorial claims there, sometimes like overlapping lines. Other countries don't recognize any claims, but the US and Russia maintain a basis of claim. I don't know what that means. I guess they're like, we just show up if we want to.
That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, because I know they go there. But anyways, some important parts of the treaty include that Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only. It prohibits military activity, mineral mining, nuclear explosions, or waste disposals. There is freedom of scientific investigation and cooperation to continue. I don't know what that means. Anyways, freedom of science, basically. And also, scientific observations and results from Antarctica shall be exchanged and made freely available to everyone. Why do I feel like that's not the case?
Yeah, I 100% agree.
But
it's also kind of cool though that we all just kind of agree to work together in Antarctica to
like,
find things out.
And they say, what's going to happen if we go to space? I would assume like the same kind of thing. But hopefully like we keep it peaceful. Because that's the scary part.
You know, half these countries wouldn't do that.
I know. But then they can go find their other planet. Like, if we get to one, we can get to another, and we can all have like Planet America, Planet France.
So they were basically just the world, but on a much larger scale.
That's terrifying. Okay. Let's see. To promote the objectives and ensure the observance of the provisions of the treaty, all areas of Antarctica, including all stations, installations, and equipment within those areas, shall be open to inspection at all times. So if you're acting sus, I guess another country has the right to come see what you're doing.
It should be that way. I like that.
Could you imagine though, like, it really pisses someone off and then there's war in Antarctica? Dude, it would probably crumble, I feel like, if there was like all these guns going off.
I agree. That's scary.
Y'all keep it peaceful.
What if somebody just theoretically like nuked Antarctica and broke that ice shelf and the entire world flooded?
Because like at any given time during the year, there's like anywhere from 1,000 to 5,000 people on Antarctica. So like that's enough people to fuck shit up. Also, well, do I want to get into more Nazi things, or do we want to go the how history is wrong route? Let's do Nazis first. So, the Nazis went there in 1938 to 39 looking for what they said new whale hunting grounds, and claimed, although not officially claimed, a plot of land called New Swambia, and they supposedly discovered many underground caves and rivers, converted the largest cave they found into a city where they lived, and here's where the conspiracy comes in. They lived with the Illuminati, since both groups had interests in dark metaphysical shit, but after the start of World War II, the Nazis left. What you think about that?
I saw that too, and I like kind of don't believe it.
I know. But like, that's the thing about conspiracies is, no, we don't believe them all, but like, they're just so fun to think about. Like,
it is,
it's
like
crazy.
the Nazis are hanging out with the Illuminati.
Like, someone thought of this shit, and we're here to report it. Also, the conspiracy that Hitler didn't really die the way history said he did, and he instead went to Antarctica by submarine after the war, and possibly was cloned, and is still alive.
I remember in high school somebody showing like pictures of this person they found in a different country that kind of resembled Hitler, and like everybody in our class just believed Hitler was still alive. So I feel like he might still be alive.
You know, like in history, I think they said that they knew he died because they found his skull, but then years later they found out that's not his skull. So to this day, I don't think we really know what happened to Hitler.
And we know the Nazis were doing all kinds of like crazy experiments and stuff. So
like they definitely were in Antarctica at that time, but what they were doing and what they found.
Yeah.
But they allegedly built and tested advanced weapons with alien technology there too. So.
If the aliens were like just chilling anywhere off the map, the perfect place to do it, I feel like, is Antarctica. It's like no humans there.
And there's all kind of nooks and crannies, and if they're aliens, who knows what they're able to withstand versus humans. So that brings us to Operation High Jump. So, officially titled the United States Navy Antarctic Development Program of 1946 to 47, it was a U.S. Navy operation to establish the Antarctic research base Little America. The operation was led by Admiral Byrd and included 4,700 men, 13 ships, and 33 aircraft from the US, Britain, and Australia. It was presented to the public as a peaceful mapping mission and a search for uranium deposits, among other things. But allegedly, they were looking for the Nazis. And there's actually, I went onto the FBI files, and no, it was the Black Vault. You ever heard of that?
No.
The blackvault.com, like, they literally request FBI files and, like, post them. And it's, like, official files and official documents, and there was one on Operation High Jump, and it was, like, 500 pages long, so I only got through, like, the first 16, and it was so repetitive, and there was nothing juicy in the first few pages, so I don't know. I was trying to validate something, like, mention the Nazis, please, at least.
Yeah.
But so, this is all allegedly then. So, it turned into a UFO battle, according to, I guess, Byrd. And the public was told that the troops left due to the early approach of winter, but later Byrd said that the project was necessary for the U.S. to take defensive action against enemy fighters that come from polar regions. So, like, in a vague way, he was like, there's something weird going on there. And not long after saying that, he was hospitalized and not allowed to hold any more conferences, and then died shortly after. Typical. So that makes you think it's real, because, like, the freaking Men in Black came after him. Dude, I've been watching Prison Break lately. Have you watched that?
Yeah, I haven't seen it all, but I saw the first couple seasons.
Bruh. Tell me it's not like The Company. Like, do you remember that?
No.
I don't know. If y'all watched it, you know what The Company is. Like, basically the Secret Service, Men in Black, I don't know. Same shit. Terrifying, though. Like, I couldn't imagine living in that kind of world where, like, just these government officials are after you.
Yeah, that's awful.
And according to Byrd's private journal, there was an entrance to another world there that he was ordered to stay quiet about. And allegedly many men died in this operation, but I searched a lot of articles and tried to find, like, how many people died in Operation High Jump. And the only claims were that 3 died due to a plane crash. And then, in 1949, the organizer of Operation High Jump, James Forstall, began having mental breakdowns and was sent to a naval hospital. He began talking about UFOs and how Atlantis was there, and he found the Nazi bases. And then, after that, he was denied any visitors, including his wife, and then he jumped out of his hospital window to his death. Or he was pushed.
Bro, like...
Right? Makes you think it's real if they're killing the people.
How are we not, like, doing stuff about, like, that?
I don't know. Because I feel like everyone just brushes it off like, oh, that's a lie.
How many movies have we seen where stuff like that happens and we haven't learned yet? Also, all I can keep thinking about when I'm thinking about Antarctica and this, like, hidden world underneath the ice is, did you watch that Ice Age?
Yeah.
Where they have to slip into the ice and they find that whole
I don't know.
underground world.
Don't ask me about the plot or anything, because, like, it's been years.
Alright, well, a lot of y'all out there know what I'm talking about, so y'all can relate to that.
All I remember are the characters of that. I don't remember the plot at all.
I'm reading right now that it says that Antarctica's blocked out on Google Earth now. You can no longer look at Antarctica. Is that true?
Damn it, that makes me wish I would have done it last night. Because I really was about to. Because I was watching a video and they were talking about Google Earth images. So,
Yeah.
like, at the time of that video, which I think was in 2019, it was visible.
That makes it even more sketchy.
Because, like, people would go to Google Earth to see if pyramids were really there. And they were like, yeah, you can see it through Google Earth. And people, like, searching Antarctica for fun there. I'm going to go try later tonight.
I got on Google Earth on my VR, and if any of y'all have ever done that, and it was the coolest thing ever. Have you ever done that?
No, I haven't done shit on VR.
You're gonna have to play on mine one day. You can like actually get in like street view and like
Oh my
be
God.
walking down the street like in VR. It's so cool.
That does sound cool. That reminds me of that like flight simulator Xbox game thing where like you could fly anywhere in the world. And have you heard of
I
that?
have no idea what you're talking about.
Dude, Jeremiah told me about it, and it's pretty cool. I watched some like little trailers for it,
Yeah.
and it's so realistic. Like you can just fly anywhere, and it's like Google Earth, basically. So, the Nazis embraced the occult and believed that the earth could be hollow and that the center of the earth inhabited aliens and all this crazy stuff, right? And after World War II, a selection of military specialists and scientists fled to Germany and went to Antarctica because they're like, we like all this weird shit and we think all this weird shit. Let's go to Antarctica and see if it's all true. And also 250,000 Germans were unaccounted for after the war. And if it's believed that like all of them fled to Antarctica because like, I don't know if I believe that, because I did see that where some people think. But also you gotta think World War II, they were like burning people. It was like pretty intense. So if you didn't find a body, it's not totally strange, I feel. But there have been reports of sightings of UFOs with swastikas and aliens speaking German. So like the ties between Nazis going to Antarctica and then all this alien stuff. Are they living in the middle of the earth? Like, because the reports from Roswell, they said that like the aliens sounded like they were speaking some kind of foreign language that sounded like German.
I swear, if aliens are just friends with German people, I'm gonna be so aggravated.
I know.
Like over
like
us,
the
like,
evil
are you
ones
joking?
got to you. Why couldn't it have been like at least any other country?
Also, you kind of just mentioned it about how Nazis were like involved with the occult. I was reading an article earlier, and it was like, as everyone knew, Hitler was a giant fan of the occult, and it literally worded it that way. Is it a common thing that Hitler like? I have never heard that once in my life.
Because like the Nazis were basically their own form of not so secret society. Like they wanted world domination, and I think their whole plan was to like team up with the aliens and dominate the world.
Is that what the occult is? I thought the occult was all like
No, the occult is
witchcraft
also
and
dark shit.
darkness. And
Yeah. It's like, I mean, how you use the dark shit, if you associate it with the aliens, I mean, I don't know. Who knew what the Nazis
Either
were
way,
thinking?
I feel like it's not common knowledge that Hitler was involved with the occult.
But totally not unthinkable.
Not unthinkable, but
In 1773, explorer James Cook passed through the Arctic Circle for the first time, and his crew discovered an unknown land. A map discovered in 1929 in Turkey suggested otherwise. It was called the Piri Reis map, and according to this map, people had known about Antarctica since 1513. So like in 1700s, they thought they first explored or first found Antarctica because no one really had any records. But then they found that map in Turkey made by the man himself, Piri Reis. He was a cartographer in the 16th century. This shit gets like so intertwined with all these years. You gotta like follow. So, okay, this map, I already said that. Okay, so it's believed that he based his map that he made off of a collection of ancient maps supplemented by charts that were drawn by, any guesses, of people around that time?
not a clue.
Like discoverers of lands?
Christopher Columbus.
Yup. Drawn by Christopher Columbus that people think he might have based his explorations on. And the center of the source that Christopher Columbus used to create his maps can be traced back to the Library of Alexandria, which is the world's largest library that was burned to the ground full of all of its world knowledge because Christian invaders wanted to destroy anything going against their message. Love that for the world. And on this Piri Reis map at that time, Antarctica was on it, and it was connected to South America and didn't seem to be covered by ice at all. Let that sit in your brain. This is so weird. Like, history is so wrong. Because do you remember like what you were taught about Antarctica in school growing up?
Not really at all.
Like, it was pretty much a recent discovery within the last, like, maybe hundreds of years. Definitely not possibly prior to 1513 or something crazy like that, or from the time of the Library of Alexandria. So, okay, there's this guy, Professor Charles Hapgood. He published a book in 1965 on his theory of Antarctica, and the book was called The Map of Ancient Sea Kings. He had studied the Piri Reis map with his students at the University of New Hampshire and found several unexplainable things. Yes, there was no ice, and also the map seemed to use something called the Mercator projection, which is basically a methodology not used by European cartographers till the late 16th century, and this possibly explained his use of Greek maps in the creation of his map. But there's still no explanation why Antarctica was drawn without an ice cap. But his theory, after him and his students studied the map, was that the info used to make it was older than 4000 BC. So, like, the people before Jesus knew about Antarctica.
That is insane.
Like, that makes you think, what is under there? Because, like, obviously the world was once all one continent. There's so much to be discovered. Okay, I already talked about these pyramids. That's what I have next. Okay, world leaders visiting Antarctica. Because, like, it's just weird to think that world leaders would, like, take the time to go there. Like, why? But anyways, there's this, I don't know who John Kerry is, but apparently he's like a big, do you know who he is?
Isn't he somebody local from Louisiana? Or is that not a thing?
No! I'm talking about world leaders here.
Yeah, like, wasn't he a governor or a senator?
No, I'm about to look it up because I forgot to last night. I heard he was like...
He's definitely either a senator.
Oh wait, John, is this the same John Kerry? I need to see a picture because I saw his face in the video. I don't know. I think that is. It is the same guy. He went to Antarctica. Anyways, but that made him, he visited in 2016 and became the first and highest ranking politician to visit. Okay. I thought he was like just some other country's literal president.
Dear God.
Oh my God, that's why, y'all, I don't pay attention to the politics no more, because I could care less. Anyways, also Prince Harry visited, and apparently it was on just behalf of a charity. So.
What charity is he just visiting Antarctica for?
I don't know.
It's not Prince Harry that we hate, is it? What's the prince that we hate from the Epstein stuff? That's Andrew, isn't it?
Andrew, yeah.
Okay. You're off the hook, Harry.
And it's not Prince Philip either, because I hated Prince Philip too, I think. Also, Buzz Aldrin visited Antarctica after he had already went to the moon. And as some of y'all may have heard or remember, I don't know if we brought it up in the alien episode, that he claimed he saw a UFO there. And then I think after hearing like the claims and stuff of the Nazis in search for aliens or whatever the connection was, he wanted to go and see for himself because he had already seen what's out there. But then he was medically evacuated. It's like almost as soon as he got there from altitude sickness. But then you got a question. Okay, this dude went to the moon. How is Antarctica gonna give him that altitude sickness? Like, they probably just didn't want him to actually see anything. Which is sus. And then, did you know that Russia has like their own kind of like pope? They call him a patriarch, I guess. I don't know. But he went there like in pope wear, which it was like black and white with gold. Like, this pope had drip. But anyways, he went there to allegedly perform an ancient ritual because the Russians have a belief or theory of ancient relic weapons from biblical times that are hidden there that include the Ark of Gabriel.
What?
Yeah. They think that, like, I don't know.
You know what? I'm tired of our news stations covering like really stupid things that nobody cares about. Can y'all start covering things that matter? Like Russia's Pope going to perform an ancient ritual to like seal up biblical weapons? That's the type of things we need in life.
That's allegedly, I don't know. There is proof though, like he does have a picture in Antarctica. But yeah, there's like constantly archaeological discoveries made that are possibly being kept from the public that could possibly rewrite human history. Like, all this stuff that we're told growing up. Once Antarctica melts and we figure this shit out, who's left to survive is gonna be mind blown, I feel like. But,
we gotta be getting close to getting the technology to get in. I feel like that's something that like Elon Musk should start doing.
I don't know if that's like a goal necessarily, because I feel like they want to preserve as much as they can, because there's so many like repercussions of changing anything there.
Yeah.
I think they're just like their purpose. Well, the actual scientists there, their purpose is to just try whatever they can from the outside to figure out what's going on the inside without disrupting anything. This is interesting. In January of 2019, a scientist from the German Aerospace Center discovered a crater deep under the permafrost while analyzing satellite images from 2006, and believed it was formed millions of years ago and possibly caused the dinosaur extinction. But conspiracy theorists believe it's the remnants of that Nazi camp that they made in that big cave. Gotta love the conspiracy theorists. But I thought it was pretty like solidly known that the meteorite or asteroid or whatever it was that killed the dinos was in the Yucatan, like in Mexico.
I didn't know that.
Cause like the only reason I feel like I know that is because when I went to Mexico, to Yucatan, is that how you pronounce it? Is it Yucatan? Yucatan? I don't know. I probably sound like a dummy. I don't care. Anyways, but I'm pretty sure, like, I don't know, but that's just what I mean. Like, history could be so wrong. Maybe it wasn't in Antarctica that killed the dinos. That's the end of my typed notes. I also wrote some.
Why'd you have to like yank that out like that?
I don't know, I felt spicy. I don't know, you say something, I'm thirsty.
Yeah. Seriously though, could you imagine if Antarctica did melt, how many like dinosaur bones, like things perfectly preserved we would find there?
Yeah, because like life on Earth has been around for billions of years. Is it billions or millions?
That's like a debated thing. According to my Earth and Space Science class that I almost failed, it's billions of years.
That's what I thought. But like, there could be literally so much under that. from like all the creatures, like when all the continents were together.
We've 100%.
Also humans, possibly. Because, like, apparently all these other people knew about it before Jesus. Because, like, when I think of the Bible, that already feels like so damn long ago. Like, and then think before that, 4,000 years before that. I can't.
I also remember, like, hearing a thing of somebody saying that they think that's where, like, Noah's Ark... Wait, no.
I don't know.
Somebody thinks, like, Noah's Ark is buried in ice. I don't know if it's there. Maybe it's somewhere in Mount Everest that's unreachable under the ice.
I mean, that's a cool theory.
It's a cool theory.
Maybe one day we'll find out. I wonder what is... No, I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to sound so dumb. Okay, so these are just some other conspiracies that get a little bit more ridiculous.
We like those.
So some people think that the governments of the world are manipulating Antarctica's massive generation of cold air in conjunction with HARP. You know what HARP is? Like, the people that allegedly are, like, using the weather as weapon.
Okay.
Yeah. And also in conjunction with chemtrails and other weather-controlled geoengineering methods to control and weaponize the weather. So they're basically trying to, like, use all the cold-ass air to just, like, whip up some, I don't know, storms, waves, to kill people, I don't know, population control.
I've never even heard of a theory about people doing stuff like that. That's a crazy thought.
You never heard of HARP and, like,
No.
the weather weapons and shit?
That's insane to think about, though.
We should do an episode on that.
We should.
Yes. Okay. That one's crazy, but this one gets crazier. So, you know how, okay, you know more about the Bible than I do. So, apparently, you know, God had his angels.
Mm-hmm.
And we know how, like, Lucifer was a bad one. He got kicked down, king of hell. And then there was, like, all these other angels, like his archangels, I guess. And eventually they got kicked out too. I don't know.
I think that's, like, a
There were
Catholic
the
thing. I
fallen
don't know a lot about all that.
angels. Because some people believe the fallen angels are imprisoned on a mountain in Antarctica and are still alive based on the research of the forbidden book of
Enoch.
Okay. So yeah, and they believe that the archangels or the fallen angels that are in prison there and are allegedly still alive, hybridized with some giant species and had offspring, and it's aliens. I don't know. That's some crazy Reddit hole.
It's like almost like Nephilim or something like that.
I don't know. I didn't see that word anywhere.
I don't know.
Wait, Nephilism? Isn't that like when the devil has his son? I don't know. That comes strictly from my knowledge on Supernatural.
Yeah,
like
kind
the
of.
show.
Which the show just ended. Are you fully caught up?
Oh yeah, it didn't just end. I feel like I watched the finale forever ago.
Okay, well my buddy definitely just texted me this week. I was like, maybe he just finished watching
Yeah.
it. I thought he said it just came out. No, because I've definitely been seeing like all these things on social media about it being the end.
What the heck? No.
You need to go watch.
Forever ago, there was recently an article, or not an article. The guy that plays Dean announced that he's making a prequel series, and then the guy that played Sam was really, really upset, and I am too, because dude that played Dean didn't tell Sam that he was making a prequel, and he's not included at all, and Dean's just doing it on the story of their parents, and he's like narrating it.
Why is Sam upset?
Because Supernatural, they did that for years together.
Yeah,
They're brothers.
True.
And
You know how many
he's just gonna
times-
do it without him?
Yeah, I was about to spoil some serious Supernatural people. Let me not say that. Anyway.
Y'all tell us if y'all watch Supernatural, because I honestly feel like a crazy person when I say, like, I am a fan of Supernatural.
I feel like our genre of podcast, if you're listening to our podcast, you kind of have to watch Supernatural.
I don't know. some people I feel like don't like our crazy conspiracies.
That's
and,
true.
Like, all
And they
that
don't like
talk.
supernatural either.
Okay, let's see. Also, there is some kind of conspiracy that WikiLeaks mysteriously released a set of 23 pictures of various locations in Antarctica on October 18th of 2016 as part of its John Podesta leaks. Do you know who that is?
No.
That's another person I meant to look up last night, but I'm sorry, y'all, I fell asleep. Oh, but at least I fell asleep researching. Podesta, an American political consultant who served as White House Chief of Staff to President Bill Clinton and counselor to Obama. Okay, so he's a politician. Pretty important one, I guess. And they leaked his emails, I believe, WikiLeaks did, and it included these 23 pictures of Antarctica, and 2 pictures appear to have UFOs in them, and mysterious fog, and like one pic looks like a cave that's like emitting some like blue-white light. It's just weird that like they found these Antarctica pictures in the politician's email.
That is weird.
Like he was just sent them. Like it didn't show that he like had them and was sending them.
Like, what reason could it have for somebody sending him those? Like, it's not
I know.
like, hey, Bob, check out these cool pics of Antarctica.
Unless like our presidents are like invested in what's going on in Antarctica and they know there's aliens there. Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about that more next week.
Yeah. Or next week for y'all.
Antarctica's a
just
crazy
blows-
place.
Yeah. Blows my mind.
I really do want to go take a cruise to Antarctica, though. I think that'd be so cool.
I'd be literally so scared. Like, what if your boat just malfunctions?
Like the Titanic.
Like, not even sink. Like, what if it just... There's, like, a minor issue and you're just stranded on a boat by Antarctica.
I feel like they're prepared for things like that at this point, and so we could, like, comfortably live until another ship came pick us up.
I don't know. You would think the cruise lines have this down pat, like, on lock, but they still sink, crash, whatever, fuck up, kill people.
Does that happen a lot? Are cruise ships, like, crashing left and right these days?
I literally remember, like, the one and only time I went on a cruise, there was, like, a video around that time of another cruise line just, like, smashing right into the port. Like, that shit, I feel like happens a lot.
That's not funny, but that is awful. How do you crash a cruise ship into, like, a port?
I think that time, it was the wind.
You must have went to, like, online boat driving school. Alright, y'all. I think that is about all we have for today.
Yep. Y'all get ready for the next one. Get your tin hats on, because it's gonna be a very... Just yeah.
And y'all can go ahead and give my bedroom one final wave, and we
Yeah.
will see y'all soon. Make sure to follow us on the socials at Kaylin Mercado.
And Marina Renee. And all of our Southern Woke stuff, you know. We got the Instagram, we got the Twitter, we got the Facebook, we got a website, podpage.com/Southern Woke. So,
Alright, y'all. We'll see y'all soon. Stay woke.
bye guys.